the biggest sin is when you're marrying someone knowing that you are involved with someone else. Astaghfirullah. And people are doing it to please their parents. It is a disease. I'm sure a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. So my beloved parents, don't push your children to the degree that you've issued a death sentence to someone else's daughter or to someone's son when your daughter or son was involved with a third party, and you blocked it, squashed it, and sometimes the way you dealt with it, they didn't even have the courage or the guts to let you know that there was something else going on. How many of us have heard of those whom out on their honeymoon, they're busy texting or sexting someone else? And that's supposed to be a honeymoon. It's a reality. When we talk about marriage and relationships, in this day and age, we have to raise these issues. Because if we don't, who is going to raise them? So my beloved parents, you are a criminal if you've done that. Criminal. And I promise you, that would be so bad because you have messed up and ruined the life of an innocent child. Someone else. You've ruined their lives to the degree that you don't even realize they could have been happier with someone else, and they would have been happier had they not even been married. So this is why we say, the first step, just be honest. You come forth and you say, you know what? Unfortunately or fortunately, whatever it is, I'm not interested here. I'm involved somewhere else. I'm interested in a third party. My parents are forcing it on me. And now we have a bigger problem where the guy says, yeah, I know that they're forcing you, but I don't care. I don't mind. It's fine. What are you talking about? I've come across such cases, whether it's for immigration purposes, whatever other purpose it is. Wallahi, this is criminal behavior. This is absolutely unacceptable. It is against the basic rights of a child to choose the spouse. It's a basic right. You're never allowed to impose a decision of who to marry as a parent. That's not a right that Allah has given you. The child has a right to refuse and to reject and to say, no, I'm not interested. And so on. You have to open your ears. You have to listen attentively. What do they want? What are they seeking? So that's step number one. The introductions used to be made. I think they are still made in a lot of communities. An introduction is made. If you don't get along, perhaps the first person introduced to you, you're allowed to meet them. And the meeting is not just a little tray that you pick up and you pass from one corner of the room to the other, and they're supposed to size you up in that moment and then say, or That's not how it works. You have every right to talk, to communicate, to interact, to see, to look. And they have a right as well. You need to talk, communicate, interact, see and look. And you need to know that until you're not satisfied, don't nod your head. Don't. And many of us sometimes we say, and I'm going to say this because it is definitely something that is affecting a lot of us. Sometimes you have a good child, really good, mashallah. And they say, Dad, I want to please you. I'll do whatever you say. So Dad says, right, marry there. And you say, okay. You need to know the Almighty, the Prophet ﷺ as well has said, have you looked at her? So the companion says, no, I didn't. He says, go and look at her. Go and see her. Make sure that you look at her. Because there is something in the eye, which means you might pick up something that you don't like and you can say no. Because you are going to punish someone else's child by not having communicated correctly with them and just nodded your head. And then when you marry, you say, oh no, man, I regret. I shouldn't ever have done this, subhanallah. So my brothers and sisters, it's important for us when we want to obey what our parents are saying, and parents are very important. Remember, the most important people in your life, your parents. You need to take their guidance. What they are telling you is not revelation from the heavens. They could be making a mistake, remember that. But generally, out of their love for you, they will be guiding you in the right direction, hopefully. But sometimes they're making a mistake because they don't know what society is all about. If the generation gap is beyond 20 years. I've noticed that. Before we used to say 40 years. And usually it's beyond 20 years. I mean, I was one of those few who already had children at the age of 20. MashaAllah. But not everyone has that. Subhanallah. So once there's a generation gap, it's difficult. It's very difficult for us to understand each other. And this is why we need communication with our children such that we should allow them to disagree with us so that we can guide them.